I've used Canva for years now. Even at my first startup, Fathom, we used Canva all the time to make graphics, and I made plenty of pitch decks with it. It was my go-to tool to create good graphics back in 2016, and honestly still is. For example, I design all of my thumbnails for YouTube right in Canva. Even with me using Canva all the time, I've had my blinders on. I've been missing out on so many new features lately. It can build websites now. Canva might be the #1 tool to purchase a subscription from if you're an early stage startup. It's way more than just an easy to use design tool these days. So in this video, I'm gonna walk through how you can use Canva for your startup. All right, so here we are in Canva, and as you can see, this is the main page. So I'm using, actually, this is the desktop app of Canva. So this isn't you can use Canva in this desktop app, or you can use just the browser version of Canva. But I've really liked this desktop app because it really eliminates distractions for me. I always kind of naturally gravitate towards these native apps, especially when it comes to desktops. That way I'm not like scrolling through social media, but really a personal preference. But you can see it's a pretty intuitive platform. So you can search like the different templates and things they have, and they have some like basic stuff you can scroll through. You can see all my recent designs, which are a little bit all over the place. And then here's like the brand kit, the content planner, which we'll get into, like some apps that you can plug in, smart mockups, uploads. Like there's all these different things here in Canva, but for the most part, everything's laid out pretty nicely right here. So the first thing that I want to cover though is the brand kit, because this thing saves me so much time. Brand kit is great. So if you go to brand kit, so in the brand here, so you can see everything that I have for the brand of Start Station is all in one place. So if you have a team or just getting started with just like branding and your startup, like this is just a great place to get started when it comes to branding and make it look a little bit more polished than your normal startup. So you can see I have my logos, and these logos I just designed in Canva and then saved them as PNGs. So it's like a train icon from Canva, and everything is just really clean. So I have all these in different colors, and these took me like 30 minutes to make everything and have like a pretty decent logo. Is it perfect? No, and I'm by no means a designer, but it's a pretty solid logo here. And then I have all the different brand colors that I use. Typically I just kind of use these two colors, but I have these if I need them too. And then you can see all the uploaded fonts that I'm using, or the fonts that I use standardized, and that way when I'm building graphics and things like that, there's a cohesive text and font that we're using just kind of build that brand portfolio. And when you're kind of first getting started with branding, it's important to just kind of stay consistent and just kind of create that, just like, hey, here's what we do. And like, it feels more real. Your startup does, and it might even feel to you. Really important tool is this brand kit, because when you're designing, it'll pull this right up into your design, which is super, super nice. All right, so now that we've talked about having the brand kit right in your designs, let's go into actually creating a design. So I'm gonna create a design here in this upper right-hand corner, and I'm gonna pick an Instagram post. Now, there's all these different templates, and there's like carousels you can see here. There's all these like videos and posts. There's a different, like all these different templates that you can use, and you probably now are starting to notice them on Instagram, particularly, at least I have, especially like now that I've used even some of them myself. For this example, I'm just gonna actually put an element and show you the stock images and icons. So actually, these are all like stock icons, images, graphics that you can use. So you can see there's this crown and it says Pro. So I'm on the Pro plan of Canva, but it's really affordable. It's just a little over $100 US dollars. And for what you're gonna get from everything with Canva, it's pretty stinking good. It's pretty affordable for the most part. Because you get all these icons, and like this can do so many different things. So the other thing which is really nice, and I think is probably underrated, is that there's all these like stock images that you can use, and they're really quality. So if I want to do like maybe a post about Chicago, I could just like pick that photo, drag and drop, and like edit and play around with it just like you would in any kind of graphic design tool. If you're used to editing photos on like a phone, this has a lot of similar vibes, and I actually think it's easier for the most part. For me, sometimes like this, there's so many different options on a phone, it just kind of gets overwhelming. But in Canva, it's pretty simple and it's pretty easy to use. So if, let's say, you can do all these filters, and you actually can kind of preview what it might look like. So there's like this latte or sandy, like there are so many different options with it. And then there's smart mockups, which we'll get into in a little bit. But you can see there's a lot of different ways to kind of make it your own, even if you're using stock images, which is super cool. Okay, and then let's say I want to add text. It's actually really simple. So you can just add a heading. And again, the nice thing, right, I have this in my brand kit. You see it says Start Station. Like these are the fonts that I have that are pre-built into it. So no matter what, like if you have a team especially, it keeps you consistent in what you're doing. So if I want to do like Welcome to Chicago, And then like you can change the text colors. Let's say we'll do white. And now it's like it's popping a little bit, but it's not popping enough. So let's do some effects. Let's lift it up a little bit. It's got some lift there. Probably a little bit more, but you can see here, right? Like now it's actually like a decent post. Now it's not great, but at least it gets you started, especially if you've never done any of this kind of work before. All right, let's move away from Instagram and actually go into their Docs tool, because there's actually a really cool thing that's probably going to get overhyped, but it is what it is. So you can create docs, and has a really similar vibe to Google Docs here in Canva. But I think the one thing that's really interesting is like, and probably again overhyped, is that there is actually an AI tool right here in Canva. So if you do this, let's say like I want to write a post about like the top five features of Canva. So it's going to search a little bit, and it's going to give you just like an outline or just kind of some starting points, which is really nice. So don't expect this Canva tool to like write the post yourselves, but you can see here, right? If I wanted to create a video about Canva, this can be a nice little tool to kind of be a second check and like a good ideating tool with you. Again, use it as an assistant. Don't use it to write your entire post or scripts or anything like that. And again, if you're brand new to social media or just content creation in general, this tool is pretty powerful and a great part. Like even like if you had this for $100 for the year, like this seems like a pretty useful tool to at least get you started going. So that's that AI tool. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on it. Let's go into the other feature, which is really cool, and that is the scheduling tool. So let's go back to this Instagram post and let's go into actually scheduling it. So if I go to share here, right? Now, because I'm on the pro plan, I can actually schedule this to get posted on Instagram or other different social media channels. So if I go to schedule, you pick the date and the time here. Let's say like next week, select the channel. I only have my LinkedIn plugged in here, but let's say I want to do a different channel. There's all of these different channels that you can use to post things in automatically for you. It's super, super convenient. So you don't necessarily need like a buffer or a later. That's right here in Canva. Like this alone is like buffer for 2 channels is $12 a month to get going. And if you're spending, like if you have 2 channels that you're focused on from a content creation piece, like Canva pays for itself just in these content scheduler, especially if you are creating every piece of content that you have right here in Canva. The other thing which is really beneficial and really cost effective is that you can actually build a website right here in Canva. So if I go to this plus, I select go not in the link and go to the website here. And I want to pick, let's say, a retail website. This is pretty crazy that you can actually build a website, like a functioning website right here in Canva. So let's say like if you need a landing page, like look, this is a pretty solid start to getting a website going. So you can hit publish, you can add your domain. Like this alone, again, it's like worth the $100 like you'll spend on Squarespace or anything like that to get started. So you just in Canva, right? You have a website builder, you have a content creation, you have content scheduling. Like this is such a good tool to be using out of the gates. It really acts as a one-stop shop for in a lot of different ways. So we'll just see what it looks like if I hit preview. This is in beta, but it still works pretty great. And you can kind of see what it looks like, which is pretty cool on mobile. It's adaptable. I think this will get even better. Like this is like it's in beta here, you can see. But I think it's going to be really, really cool tool, especially when it comes to building websites and especially when it comes to landing pages, which if you're just getting started is one of the key features of having a website is really just catch emails, and Canva can definitely do that. So enough about websites, and I'm just going to cover just a few different things, right? I think that are probably the most used here on Canva. And one is I know if you're a student, you probably use it all the time as this presentation tool. And Canva's presentation tool is really, really powerful. It has changed a lot since I last used it for pitch decks in my last startup called Fathom. There's so many different things you can do with it. And it even has a presentation mode, which was brand new. So if you're looking to create good looking presentations, like it is a really great place to do that. You can see like these templates did not exist when I was doing like startups and the way I was doing it. So this is a really good place to start. And look, I mean, this is pretty good looking especially if this is your first startup and getting going. So highly recommend it, even just for this presentation piece and making it look decent when it comes to pitch decks particularly. And you can see there's all these different templates. And there's even most of these templates actually look like they're free, which is pretty great. You don't necessarily need the pro version. This one's a pro version, but if it doesn't have the crown, it means you can get it for free. You can use Canva for free for the most part. So that's presentations. And the last example that I want to show you when it comes to types of content you can create here in Canva is infographics. If I type in the right spot, infographics here. And there's all these different templates, and infographics can be really nice, especially if you're posting on like, more B2B type market channels like LinkedIn, or even just using for SEO, because these can be like searched out, especially when it comes to Google Images. So these can be really great, especially for shareability too. So those are like the key things, right? There's infographics, there's presentations, websites, there's Instagram planners, and the content scheduler. So there's a lot happening right here in Canva. Now, the other thing that I want to show is that there's actually these smart mockups, and these smart mockups are pretty sweet because you can create and make it look like, especially if you're not technical, make it look like your product or app is real. So let's say I want to create a smartphone looking thing, and there's all these different things. It's not just one type of thing, and these people are a little bit weird probably because you can tell it's very standardized or very stock-esque. But if you there's all of these different templates to just drop maybe some mock-ups that you might have of your app or things like that. And you can just put these graphics right into your pitch decks and everything else. It's a one-stop shop when it comes to creating good graphics and marketing and designing things. So smart mockups are really, really cool for this, even just getting this off the ground and just really starting to get some traction with your venture. Okay. So that's smart mockups. The other thing is discover all these apps. So this thing is pretty new to me, and I haven't explored a lot, but these discover apps, right? There's Google Drives that integrates now. There's all these different ways you can integrate tools that you might be already using. So you can add YouTube videos into it. You can add QR codes. So if you're presenting to a bigger audience, just have a QR code right there, which is really nice, to your website, maybe in Canva. So this is a really cool tool that you can now integrate into things, which again, when I was using this for the first time and just realized probably the last few weeks that these apps existed, this is a really, really cool and powerful tool, especially with these apps being able to connect into Canva. The last thing I want to show here in Canva is the print products. Now, print products, right, is that we all love a little bit of swag, but if you want to make some make sure your designs look real and feel real, one of the things you probably want to do is get business cards, even though business cards are not being used a lot, but I have been using them personally a little bit more. But if you want to use business cards or water bottles or shirts, you can design all this in Canva, and then Canva will print it for you. So if you go into a t-shirt, create a blank t-shirt, and they have even all of these graphics right here. So let's say I want to pick this one, and let's print it. And it'll show you what this mock-up might look like. And you can pick the color t-shirt, and you can see what it looks like. If I expand it, it doesn't show up well on a blue t-shirt or a navy t-shirt. But let's say we pick a white t-shirt, right? You can design it right here in Canva, and then they'll print it for you. So you don't need to go to a custom ink necessarily. You can just go check out, you're done. Everything, again, is a one-stop shop here in Canva. Just to recap, this is a really powerful tool, and this is a way more powerful tool than I ever realized, right? There's t-shirt design, infographics, presentations, even a website builder, AI tool. There's Instagram posts and scheduling tools right into it. Canva is such a powerful tool, and I highly recommend that you check it out further. That's how you can use Canva for your startup. Again, if there's one subscription that you pay for, I think this might be the one. It's an all-in-one tool that lives up to the hype. It makes everything look good, and it's functional. If you found this video helpful, I would love it if you could give it a like. And if you're looking for more content like this, you can check out other videos on this channel like this one here.